So today we're going to take a look at a full debuff team versus a full buff team. Here we're going to have 3 Pokemon with 5 different debuff moves, which is kind of crazy. And here we're going to have 3 Pokemon with each a move that can boost its own attack up by 1 stage guaranteed. And we have a lot of variety here today. So let's take a look which team is better. What is more important, to drop the opponent's stats or to boost their own stats? And we're going to have here a team here, the first one, the debuff one, where we're going to have Fortress, which has both a Rock Tomb as well as Sand Tomb to debuff the opponent's defenses or attack, like Sand Tomb for defense, attack is a Rock Tomb. We're going to have a Rock Tomb and Brick Break on the Como, which does the same, Brick Break for the defense and the Rock Tomb for the attack. And then we're going to have the Cordelier in the back with a Rock Tomb that can drop again the attack of the opponent. So I have actually a triple Rock Tomb team here, which is kind of funny. But generally speaking, I just looked at any kind of Pokemon that could debuff the attack of the opponent. I cannot just compare plus attack versus basically minus attack, because generally speaking, in the Go Battle League, it is generally known that the bulk is more important than the attack, but I'm not too sure if this is actually the case for those moves itself, because here, for example, those are going to be changes to the opponent. The opponent has more control over when they sub out and when not, while the other ones are going to be boosted towards yourself. And you have full control on if you want to go ahead and go like in a 2-shield scenario with attack, boosting your own attack with the other team or not. Well, here it depends on what the opponent wants to do. But the first battle is actually going really well. The opponent stops out into a Licky against my Hakamo, which will not be able to take the Brick Break, and with this, we win the first battle. Second battle is coming up now. We're going to swap teams. We're going to have, the triple attack boost team. We're going to have the lead of the Talonflame, the Saysop of the Primip, and the Morpeko in the back. And this is going to be a fun team to run as well, as we face off against a Shadow Mightyena. We're going to stop out straight away because we have a double resistance in the back, and we're going to get out the opponent's Zoom Roll, boosting ourselves up directly with your Rage Fist here, doing more damage than afterwards. And here I just decided to go for the close combat because my idea was that I just want to play out more, say, the Morpeko matchup afterwards. So I just want to get as much damage in as possible. If I didn't do this, I would have most likely reached another Rage Fist in time here in this kind of way, where I would have even been able to knock out the opponent's Zoom Roll already, which would have been better in hindsight. But I can use a shield here against the opponent, which allows me now to go for the full farm down. But they stop out. They stop out into their Corviknight, which allows me to go for the Aura Wheel here real quick. Knock them out basically straight away with my Morpeko. And Morpeko is ready to go and hopefully sweep the opponent's team. As you see here, the Mightyena coming in. We can go for the Psychic Fang spam, hoping that the opponent would use a shield, but they don't do that. But I actually don't really care too much about it, because while we actually have a debuffing move here as well with Psychic Fangs on this team, which is kind of funny, we're going to have here the option to go for the Incinerate, which does so much damage. I can, just farm everything down, and it is going to be a 1-1. Of course, the left side is going to be the way of the debuff team, and the right side going to be the buff team. As you will see here as well, there's going to be a stop out again into Licky against Hakamo. I feel like people just don't really respect Hakamo as much. I do think that Hakamo, by the way, is actually a Pokemon that got a ginormous buff this season with Brick Break. I think it's actually very, very big. It seems like such a small change, but doing 10 more damage for a Pokemon like this, and then you drop the opponent's defense at the same time. This Pokemon is actually fantastic. I really enjoyed running Hakamo from this team, which is kind of funny because we have 2 very meta Pokemon in here with the Fortress as well as the Cordelier, which are very well known for debuffing opponents. From this team, I actually enjoyed the Hakamo the most by far. I have to say that I feel like Hakamo was the strongest Pokemon from this team. But also, here is one of the reasons why I run a Volt Switch on my Fortress, which is actually also like an interesting fact here, generally speaking. Because you're going to be better in matchups like this, I want to have an answer better that's going to be better for like the Bastion here as well. But the Bug Bite there, of course, is going to be not doing as much energy generation, I think, as well, but also going to be resisted. Like this, I actually have the option to go for the Sand Tomb and still do a lot of damage against the opponent. They stop out here into the Gourgeist. I can still keep my Sand Tomb for later on, which should hopefully put them down to the range where I can knock them out with it as well. But as you will see, there's going to be, the Gourgeist up against the Cordelier. The Shadow Ball is going to connect, and we try our best to go for a Rock Tomb against the opponent. This is going to be fine. This is going to allow us to get the KO, and we will see here as well that we have now not the move coming in. But luckily, the opponent is actually going to go for the charge move and not going to knock us out, and we can actually go for another charge move here that actually this time around will KO the opponent's Gourgeist. And in comes the Bastion in. I can play it out for a little bit and now swap out, go for the Sand Tomb, knock them out, and win us this battle. This is quite a close one, but so far it's 2-1. So both, like we have 3 battles so far, everyone was a 1 so far, so that's actually off to a very good start with those teams. And we see here on what is going to be more important, boosting or debuffing. And as we see as well, there's going to be a third against us. I go for the close combat, but I think the opponent caught the move here. They caught onto the Gastrodon, which is actually fantastic for us because our other 2 Pokemon are way weaker against Gastrodon, and I'm fairly certain this is just going to be the Body Slam, and with that I will be able to just farm them down and go for a charge move against the third to maybe even force a shield. They decide to use a shield and I can swap out into my Morpeko. Morpeko is now in a position where it can go for the charge moves themselves, but the opponent plays a Brick Break as well here, which is going to debuff our defense as we can go for the R-Rail, which would knock them out. At the end of the day, we always leave with an attack boost and we always leave with a bit of an energy lead here, but we're at -1 defense and in comes the Ludicolo, but luckily we are going to be able to resist the fast move damage from the opponent, which means we are going to be in a position where we can just go ahead, go for the R-Rail, knock them out here after another shield from ourselves, and we should be able to make it 2-2, and with that we won all of our first 4 battles, like just generally first 2 for each of them, which showcases that both teams actually can work quite well. Okay, Fortress against Scissor. By the way, for those videos, I don't know if I said that before already as well, I do not choose like the battles itself, I just go for 1 set each, and they go head-to-head against them. That's like the Versus series. I do not pick games or anything like this. I go for 1 set only, and see which of those teams are performing better in that set against each other. This is kind of the theme for this one. Of course, if you have ideas towards this series as well, I would appreciate them in the comment section. And of course, as well, if you just enjoy the series itself, then feel free to subscribe as well as leave a like on the video. This helps me out a ton, honestly, like it helps out a ton for the channel. But we're going to face off here against a very tough Pokemon. It's going to be the Fearow. Fearow is going to be something that, is going to take super effective damage, of course, from any of our Rock Tombs, but it's actually quite difficult to deal with because they're outspeeding us on every Pokemon basically as well. We're gonna swap out here into the Credilli, and I try to catch the move onto the Fortress. It doesn't work out, and I feel like I make a mistake here soonish, didn't I? I tried to go and catch the move again, but they didn't even have a move yet, and of course that is going to be quite awkward, but even then I think I would have lost no matter what, even if I went for the move here. I very likely would have lost the battle. So I do think it didn't really matter at all, but as you will see here as well, we're going to have the charge move coming through, the Grassland is going to knock them out with another one here, but there's still going to be the Fearow with all the energy, and so this is going to stay 2-2 here so far. There's not really anything that's going to change there, and we can move on to the next team, where now the boosted team could go 1 ahead. And so Titan in the lead is already very promising, as I have 2 Pokemon that can deal with it. The Dusknoir coming in is also not that bad, as we have also Pokemon that can deal with it. We're going to have our Morpeko now going for the charge move, and we are off to a very solid start. I could use a shield here if I want to, and I do decide to use a shield. I'm fairly certain, like I know it's going to be just a Shadow Punch, but I kind of want to align myself, and I want to guarantee that. But I still get to another move actually faster than I expected, and so I shield yet again. It's going to be another Shadow Punch, and I can go ahead and go for the charge move here, the R-Wheel, not the R-Wheel, the Psychic Fangs, which is also going to be enough to knock them out. The R-Wheel is coming through afterwards, though, against the opponent's Titan, and I will hopefully be able to knock them out with this move. I should be able to knock them out with this move, but I have 2 Pokemon on the back that would be actually better off against this thing anyway, and so now we're in a position where we can farm them down. We have 2 Pokemon left against 1, and it's going to be Tentacruel. Out of all of the Pokemon I could imagine in the current Go Battle League meta, this is by far the worst Pokemon possible. Like, period. Like, this is the worst possible Pokemon we could imagine. There's no worst Pokemon for us to really face here. And it's like such an off-meta Pokemon, which is kind of funny. So, yeah, I am going to lose this battle because this Fly is not going to be enough. They have a charge move stored already, and I will not be able to win this here. Good game to the opponent. What a Pokemon to face. Could have been Azumarill as well. Azumarill would have lost us the battle as well, but anything else would have been fine. Alright, against Dancing Rob here, this is going to be a very cool team from them though, like, former world champion as well. First world champion for Pokemon GO actually, which is kind of cool. also a fellow German. And as you can see here, we're going to have the Sableye Safe Swap, and I couldn't really guess yet what they have in the back. That the Azumarill on the lead, where I would like to keep my Fortress for, because Fortress is really, really good for it. And I sub out into my Hakama-O. I think they are very likely going to have Power Gem in the current meta, so I can just let the move go. It's going to be the foul play, which is fine. So in comes now the Azumarill, and we can debuff them. So far, I feel like there's basically zero way of me losing in this battle. And I can just play this one out. They are debuffed. I don't really care too much about it. I can just go for the Rock Tombs. And yeah, like, I have 2 great Pokemon in the back in order to answer them. And I can even catch the move here, which makes it even easier. Because now I have basically still my Hakama-O. And I still have my perfect answer to the Azumarill in the back in the Fortress. In comes the Spiritomb. This is also okay, but the issue is the opponent has that shield advantage, and they played very well here by letting the move go. I should shield here very likely. I do shield here in order to get their shield as well as in order to get the debuff onto them. But this is not going to mean here that we're going to be able to win here straight away. I can swap onto the Hakama-O, they swap out back again into the Azumarill, which is really awkward because they were able to swap out so fast basically after I swapped out here, which is really annoying. You know, they can knock me out here. A player is absolutely going to knock me out. They will be able to take that KO, but I can swap out into my Fortress, and I thought I was actually in a very solid spot here. Until I realized the opponent had a move start. And this changes everything. I am going to lose this battle. There's nothing I can do about it anymore. Yeah, good game to the opponent. Like, seriously, there's nothing I could have done there anymore. So after such an amazing start, we are now in a position where we lost 3 battles in a row, and we have again a very good lead for us with the boost team. As you will see, the Sableye coming in, which is in a position where it could align itself in theory, but I didn't really want to play against that yet, because I know that at the end of the day, I think it's best for me to go for the no shield there. I think it's best for me to play it safe here, and I know that I'm not going to be able to align myself, so I'm just going to let the move go. And I know that I have potential play with both of my Pokemon against the opponent's, Steel type there. So, as we will see, we're going to have the JonkusPKMN that's going to knock out the Sableye. Now it depends on what they have in the back. What do they play here? They decide to go back into their Doublade, and I should just go for a Charm where I swap out instead, and they have the Licky in the back. And this was quite obvious, to be fair, because this is a team combination that I have been playing for quite a long time, which I even said in a video recently, most likely when this video comes out, about how I feel like this is the line that makes, like, is the strongest currently. And so it's not too surprising for me, at least, that this is happening like this. I think it is quite obvious that this is a very good core of Licky and the Doublade. But what happens here now is I all of a sudden lose with 2 shields left. And that's kind of crazy, because I feel like all of those battles there were kind of winnable, and now we are 2-2 in so many different ways for each team in terms of win and loss, and here also between those teams, of course, in win and loss, like both of them have 2 wins so far. And now we're gonna go for the final battle for each of them. In comes here the Annihilate, actually a Pokemon that's quite difficult for me to deal with, so I kind of appreciate facing it here early on, because I'm still going to have access at least to the Fortress, which will be able to take it like at least low. It doesn't take it down, but take it low. And we're gonna have 2 debuffs onto them. And we will have the Rage here coming through. But now I'm kind of worried that the opponent can get to another Rage in time, but they cannot. So I have a shield still left on my Hakama-O. In comes the Drapion. Drapion generally should only have resisted Charge Move damage against us. So we should be able to take a hit here, especially as they're debuffed. And with that, I can knock them out then afterwards. They swap out into their Bastion here while they catch a Brick Break, which is amazing for me. And I can still reach another Brick Break as we resist the hit. And again, Hakama-O shows just on how strong this Pokemon is. Like, dropping the stats the entire time is crazy. And as we will see here as well, this is going to be, now the Bastion coming in. And we can now knock them out with a Grass Knot, and we will be able to win the battle. But I overfarm first because I need 2 moves dot basically for the Drapion as well. So this was crazy. Like, this is a 3-2 win here for this one so far. But we still have 1 more battle left for, of course, the Shadow team to at least go equal here. So let's see if this is gonna work for them. The thing is here, for sure, it is kind of awkward because there's not really a lot of good moves to boost your own defense. I think I can only currently remember 1 move that guaranteed a boost your defense, which is Drain Punch. I think there's Oblivion Wing now as well, which is kind of interesting. Like, Oblivion Wing is like kind of the only other move that I can currently remember that can boost your defense guaranteed. That's why I couldn't really like put those together. I'm actually just looking here real quick if there's any other move that does boost your defense guaranteed. As I'm gonna go up against Jumpluff, which is actually quite difficult for the situation that we're currently in, sadly. But we still try our best. Attack boosts are so much more common than defense health boosts, which is just so awkward, sadly, for a video like this. I can't really showcase the same kind of way that we had the defense drops the entire time. We have Parabolic Charge as well. Parabolic Charge, Oblivion Ring, Drain Punch, Skull Bash, Obstruct are the only moves that can boost the defense guaranteed. So, unless you want to see a video with Parabolic Charge, Drain Punch, and Skull Bash, yeah, that will not really happen for like defense boost and nerfs the entire time. But it could be actually working out. I don't know. Maybe it would be interesting. Oblivion Ring, I sadly can't play in the Great League though. But yeah, this is going to be it basically for this video here, though, so far. Because what we see here is we don't have enough firepower against the opponent's Stunfisk. We don't have really anything that we can go for here. And yeah, this is going to be it for that. It's actually a bit stronger to debuff the opponent. It definitely is a bit easier to play as well. Bulk is king in the Great League. And let me know down below what you want to see next. Bye bye.